Ladies and gentlemen, sitting where you're sitting and hope to change is not going to happen. Get out of your butt and start doing something. 2021 is going to be the year for you. If you want to do something, get up and do it. So that in a nutshell was the story. By the time I was 33, 34, I decided, what will I do? What will I do? In the meantime, I went ahead and got a degree, which all Indian families want us to do. So I got my certified practicing accountant. I became a chartered practicing accountant, they call it, which is quite different to a chartered accountant because we actually practice in the commercial area rather than a professional area, meaning as a corporate accountant as opposed to a CA who has clients. He goes out and meets clients. Now, as a CPA, what ended up happening was I was lucky enough. This is where most people say you have to have luck to come up in life. Yes. And the term I use, luck, is different. I spell luck. I don't know if this is how you spell luck. L-U-C-K. Labor under correct knowledge. So my luck came to me this way. It came to me by having a right hand and a left hand coach who I totally believe in. The right hand coach showed me financial independence. The left hand coach was the guide who showed me how to come up in a career. And by the time I was 26, I was the youngest vice president for the third largest oil and gas company in Brisbane, Australia, with property starting all the way from Shanghai, China, down to Tasmania. Now, that didn't happen because I sat on my bum. That happened because I decided to make a decision. This is the word I want you to cement yourself on. A decision. Ladies and gentlemen, to me, a decision is a Latin word. It means decry, to cut and move on. So the decision I had to make at the age of 14 and a half to leave my parents, at the age of 18 to buy my first property, at the age of 33 to make decisions what I'm going to do with my finances, at the age of 24, a decision whether I'll take on the vice president's role and move up my career or leave it. I decided to stay on for another 10 years. So by the time I was there till 35. And I went up to my dad at 35 and said, hey, Dad, I'm going to go back to India. And he said, what? We left India in the 40s. He left India, not me, okay? He left India in the 40s. And he said, why are you coming back to India? And I said, very simple. I want to give something back. And that leads me to my mission, my purpose in life. I wanted to give back. Then he said, why? Give them some money. And I said, if you give them money, it's not going to change. Why? What is not going to change? Because it is giving charity. I don't want that. I want to be working in the trenches with the people. So, ladies and gentlemen, from 1998 up to this pandemic in March of the 2020, I've been making 6 to 8 trips a year into India, not giving charity, but working in the trenches, helping people transform so they can come up in life. That transformation was what I was targeting. So my purpose started way back when I was 33, 34. And it goes as follows. My purpose in life is to create a mindset shift, a heart set shift, and a soul set shift in 1 million people. Thereby creating a better lifestyle for them and their next generation, leaving behind a legacy. So that purpose was what drove me to leave Australia constantly, despite having problems in India with water, power, you know it, you can just name it. I'm not trying to put India down, but there are a whole string of issues. When you have a lifestyle here, you know, living in the farm and having all the luxuries that you want, I decided to quit it for 6 to 8 months of the year and work in India. And in that 22 years, my goal was not achieved. I wanted to do 1 million people. I only did 250,000 people. In that time, I was only able, I had the privilege to work with, supportedly work with 250,000 people who span the world today. In fact, this morning, I was sitting out in my front veranda and a call comes in from Atlanta. And this person's name is Muthu. I coached Muthu. He's a CEO. He's Jonathan Bush, George Bush's cousin's CEO for a company. I coached him way back in 2004. Now watch this, guys. He is a startup coach, a very powerful man. He rings me up and we talked for a while. We chatted about different things. So the the relationship and the connect is still there. And that's what coaching is all about. And I have the privilege of actually coaching CEOs, vice presidents, senior managers, business executives, sole proprietors, entrepreneurs over the last 22 years. And one thing happened to me in July of 2018 when I made the decision I wanted to go public with this. Meaning, I wanted to talk on stages, I wanted to talk on platforms. I went and found another coach who taught me these rudiments of how to talk on stage professionally, how to write books. By the way, I've launched my first book on 1st of January 2021. It's just been launched, and the book is titled I Excel Wired for Success. So
Awesome.
all of this together is my journey. I have talked enough. Your turn, lady. Take it over.
Wow, wow. Such an inspiring journey, and I must say, such an amazing story to listen to. I knew a few pieces of it, and I think today there are more things I got to know more about you. So
Thank
I
you.
really loved it, and I'm sure the audience is also loving it. The messages are pouring in. Murali is writing, he's saying hello. Umakant is saying he finds it really great. Bindu is just all over, talking about she loved the concept of guts. Um,
Good.
love the concept of luck as well. And I think Abhishek is also loving it. Umakant says, right time decisions leads achieving goals. Yes, you're right. And Akshay is also finding it amazing. So we look forward to many more comments, more questions, guys, and do keep pouring in your love
Yep.
and your comments, and we would love to read them out for you in the live session. So that's the power of doing a live session as well. You could also look at
Exactly.
it later, and we'll be happy to add more value in whatever way we can. So
Right.
coming back to you, David. I was amazed to know that 14 coaches. I mean, you coach people and you have had 14 coaches who've shaped up your life. So, what it tells us is that there is a huge role that a coach plays in anybody's life.
Yes. Yes.
So, the impact the coach creates is amazing.
You see, most people don't understand the concept of coaching. They relate it back to teaching and training. It is not. A coach does not give you solutions, and I don't give my people solutions. In fact, I push them hard that they actually know they need to be stretched to such an extent. So, as an example, in India, Sachin Tendulkar does not go up to his coach when he's feeling a little bit, up to his coach and say, I don't feel like doing the jogging today. You know what his
Mm,
coach will do? He'll turn around and say, go and do 300 of them.
yeah.
Okay? Now, why is that imperative for you to put in your head? Ladies and gentlemen, the reason is you don't want somebody to give you and spoon feed you. You want to be independent. So a good coach, there are methodologies in which you'll go and search for coaches. I'm not going to cover that today. A good coach will actually be able to guide you, put questions out there, challenges out there to make you walk through it. And when you fall, he's there to pick you up. I'll give you one illustration of that, a true story that happened to me. And that's how I picked up this concept of coaching. As I said, when I got into Korea, one of my senior managers, who was my guide, HR person, they're trying to groom me as an all-rounder. So whenever there were opportunities, they would put me into accounting roles, they'll put me into HR roles, they'd put me into, in those days, it wasn't IT, it was called DP, data processing. And I was moving around. By the way, I'm not very old. I'm only 92 years old, right? Now, so what happened was in one of these trips in discussions, they said, we need to close down one of our operations down south in Australia. And they said, okay, because it's not doing well. It's a pain in the butt, so to speak. So why don't we close it, bring it up here, relocate the staff into Brisbane, and we can then go on. And next minute, everybody's eyes was pointed at me, and I looked at them and I said, Jerry, what are you doing? And he says, well, you're the most likely person. You're the most middle managed guy that can fly to Sydney and handle those guys, then come back. And I looked at him and I said, you know something? I'm only 22 years old. I'm only 22, and you want me to sack people who are 60? That's my question to him, because that's the whole idea. When you relocate, it means you retrench people. So he turned around and said to me, I was sitting in a boardroom with about 8 or 9 people, and he turned around and he stood up and he put his hands in his thumb, in his mouth, and he walked around the table and he said, listen to me, David. He said, I want to learn to swim. He kept walking. I want to learn to swim. I want to learn to swim. And he made this twice, 3 times. The fourth round, he came up to me and he stood behind me and he said, now, will I ever swim, David, if I went round and round the table saying, I want to learn to swim? And I said, no. So what he did was he just shoved me, and my whole body went across the table on the conference room. And he said, now, if I pushed you into the swimming pool, you will drown, and I will be there to pull you up. That's the power of a coach.
Amazing.